Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Red Devils TV. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Ruben Amorim and how he's done so far at Manchester United. Is he the right guy to take United forward? For me, I personally think so, but it's not just about me and not just about my opinions. I've got Brian today on the channel, and obviously a few Reds in the comments as well. Nice to see you that are already here. So yes, let's talk about Ruben Amorim and how you think he's doing so far at Manchester United. So, Brian, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. So the first question for me that I've got for you is, do you think Ruben Amorim's done well so far at Manchester United?
Oh, mate, can you hear me okay, yeah?
Yeah, mate, I can hear you perfect.
Good. So, answering the question, I'll be honest, I think he's got off to a great start in, the 2.5, 3 months he's been at the club. I will say a mini shout out to my cousin when I say this statement. He said to me a while ago that Man United is the hardest job in world football. And at first, I was a bit, nah, I can't see it. But as time's gone on, he's proved to be more right as, the time's gone. So far, it's in terms of United, it's not been winning every match, but already, for me, you can see a stamp that Amorim's already made, and he's shown his ability as a coach, like, for example, beating City at the Etihad 2-1, and, I'm not going to have the typical blue excuse of, we was on a bad run and everything like that. At the end of the day, United went to the Etihad and bossed it. He's gone to Anfield, he's got a draw. For me, that should have been a win, but, you go into Anfield and you're getting something out of it, and on that day, United went toe-to-toe with him, and I don't want to say it, but Liverpool are arguably the best team in world football at the minute. So the fact that United have shown that they can compete, and if they do become consistent and they can compete, it shows a lot. And then even yesterday, knocking Arsenal out the FA Cup on penalties, yeah, Arsenal created a lot of chances, but you'll know yourself, like in football, you've got to take the chances, and Arsenal didn't, and United did. But even the reaction going down to 10 men, I'll be honest, I thought, it's going to be a very, very, very hard ask for United to get something, but they defended well. They, did everything right, to be honest with you. And at the end of the day, they got the result that they needed. But yeah, like I say, they've Amorim already. He's gone again, the Etihad. He's got a win. He's gone to Anfield. He's got a draw. He's gone the Emirates and won. When you put it into context, they're 3 tough places to go, and he's delivered. He's got the fans excited again in a short space of time. They are behind him. And for me, there's been some good moments already so far. And I'm sure he's going to be finding a consistent run of wins very soon.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I was asked about this. I went on Radio 5 the other night and talked about on Total Sport. And they turned around and asked me about would I be happy if Manchester United didn't get silverware at all this season, as long as we can see the progress under Ruben Amorim. And for me, I turned around and said, yes, I would be actually, because there's been so many times where United has been such a hit and miss team. We can beat anyone on our day. I want to be able to go to Old Trafford or be able to watch my team on TV and know that we're going to put up a fight no matter who we're up against. And recently, after that Newcastle game, I don't know what David Goggins' motivation video he's been showing them players, but these players have been fighting for the shirt, fighting for the fans, and fighting for the badge for both games under Arsenal and Liverpool. And after that Newcastle game, everyone was expecting us to get pumped, myself included. I had no faith going into the Anfield game. I had no faith going into the Arsenal game a few weeks ago, and you can just see such a massive turnaround from the game against Newcastle. I mean, Xerxes is a prime example. He got axed off in the first half against Newcastle, booed off by the Manchester United fans, and he goes and scores the winning penalty last night against Arsenal, which for me will do his confidence a world of good. I'm quite happy Xerxes is fighting for his place and wants to improve at Manchester United. But do you think so far, obviously we've explained about Ruben Amorim, he took over Manchester United on the 11th of November, and his first game was Ipswich. And you look at his start so far, it's been a bit hit and miss. The only thrashing game we've really had is that 4-0 at Everton, where United won 4-0. And there's been a few disappointing results, Nottingham Forest, but you've seen how well they've done this season. The Man City game, where we won 2-1, like you mentioned before. The Spurs lost in the Carabao Cup, which was disappointing, but he did heavily rotate, and Biendia had an absolute stinker. But for me, probably the worst 2 games we've seen came back to back, and that was the Wolves game and the Newcastle game. Now, the Bournemouth loss, for me, I went to that game and it wasn't too bad. We lost 3-0, and obviously the scoreline sounds quite harsh. But at the same time, we were quite 50-50. They just scored their chances and United didn't. And I feel like it was quite even in that game, despite what the scoreline was. But the Wolves game where we lost 2-0 and the Newcastle game where we lost 2-0, them two games back to back was a bit of a fear factor of, is he the right guy to take Man United forward? But then obviously, like you've discussed, we drew at Anfield and we drew at Arsenal. So we've got Southampton on Thursday. Do you think United steamroll them?
They should. Obviously, whether they do is another question. Like I say, I'd be confident in saying that they will. I'd be expecting at minimum 2 or 3. But, the thing is with Southampton, they've been very poor, but they have got a new manager. So in football, as you know, you never know what to expect, I guess. But in terms of what I've seen, let's say, going from that Wolves game and Newcastle, the bounce back from the Liverpool draw and the win last night, the momentum's there. Amorim's had longer with him. And I was going to touch anyway. I believe that before the Liverpool game, it was the first full week Amorim actually had with the players. So the fact that he's obviously having more training sessions and sort of the fixture list is getting better and better. You're seeing the team improving. You're seeing some of the players come to life now. So yeah, I'd expect a 2-3-0 versus Southampton. But at the end of the day, you look at the next few fixtures United have got, and you should expect a good few wins. Hopefully, he gets the setup right and everything like that.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate, because at the same time, as much as I like Ruben Amorim and the way he started so far, you've literally just hit the nail on the head. The fact that Manchester United under Ruben Amorim, we've had like 3 or 4 games in the space of 2 weeks until like the Arsenal game, where this is the first week where we've had like 1 game in 1 week, where we've had a full week of training on the pitch, and you can see it. I think it was the same with the Everton one as well. I think that was actually the first week where Amorim had just Everton, and we worked on it. We won 4-0, and obviously last week we had the 1 game in Arsenal. So for me, I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes. Obviously, Southampton are terrible this season. We can't like knock them. They are at the bottom of the league. They're looking to be breaking Derby's record for the lowest Premier League total, and every team seems to be battering Southampton. So you kind of hope United can turn up at Old Trafford and do the same, because we beat them 3-0 at the start of the season away at St Mary's. So we're pretty sure we can do that again this season. But moving on to a second question that I've got for you is that, how do you actually think Amorim's done so far? Because obviously he's made jokes in the media talking about all the interviews he's had to do and stuff. But like you said before, all credit to your cousin about how the Manchester United job is the hardest job in world football. How do you think he's adapted to the pressure of being a Manchester United manager?
I think he's done very well, because you've got, for example, we're going back to Eric and stuff like that. In his first few months for me, he came across as the right guy, as Amorim is doing now. He was very open and honest. He was very sort of sticking to his principles, and he wasn't taking any sort of, let's say, pressure. Well, not pressure. Let's say influence off media sort of things, and granted, he had a lot of problems. But what I've really rated from Amorim in the media as well is that he'll, he's honest. From the minute he got to the club, it was not, I'm just going to walk in here and say, well, this is how I play football and I'll be easily be able to do it. He was open and honest with the fans and said, it's got to be bad before it gets better. He didn't come in and give empty promises and sort of, a lot of the media at the minute, like the Marcus Rashford question again and again and again, like, he isn't crumbling whatsoever. And he's literally coming out and saying, it's not about Rashford, it's about the team. And he just seems to be a guy that relishes it. Like the media can't get the better of him. He's so motivated and he wants what is best for Manchester United. And I believe that Amorim, again, it's early to say, but obviously I'm sure we'll go on to sort of recruitment and, Ineos and probably stuff later. But like I say, for me, he is showing a lot of promising signs. And I was one of them where when Eric did get sacked, if United didn't try to approach Amorim, it would be very silly. So, like I say, for me, it's the right appointment. And so far, I think he's done well tactically. He's brought a togetherness, not just with the players, with the fans. And yeah, he deals with the media very well. So far, I've been impressed with what I've seen.
Yeah, mate. I honestly, I completely agree with you there. And obviously, I work at Costa Coffee. If people don't know, and I work in hospitality. So, and I get if he's watching out there, because he does watch my videos sometimes. Steve, you little rat. No, I'm not joking, but no. He turned around and said to me a few weeks ago that he doesn't understand the hype around Ruben Amorim. I mean, you look at he compared him to Jose Mourinho with what Jose Mourinho did at Porto, but obviously winning the Champions League and stuff. But I feel like that comparing him, or just mentioning him in the same sentence as Jose Mourinho, which for me is top three managers of all time, especially in English football. I think that's a massive, you could say, honour to Ruben Amorim that is being compared with Jose Mourinho. Like, yes, he's not good as Jose Mourinho, with what Jose Mourinho accomplished with Porto is brilliant, and you saw what type of career Jose Mourinho went on to have, winning Champions Leagues, playing, obviously winning with Real Madrid, what he won at Chelsea, what he won at United. You know, Jose Mourinho was one of the greatest ever managers. So the fact that Jose Mourinho was being compared to Ruben Amorim, I think that Ruben Amorim should almost be grateful, in my opinion. But for me, I just feel like give him time, because what it's not just what he did at Sporting Lisbon. It's also what he did at the club beforehand, and it's also the coaches he worked with. It's also the experience he's gained as a player. Because don't forget, he was an international player for the Portugal national team. He isn't a bad player. And yes, he didn't have the fancy name and he wasn't world class, but he's a young manager who's made the big jump so early in his career to play for to manage Manchester United. And for me, I'm just over the moon the fact that we've got this manager, because before last season, when Liverpool were looking for Jurgen Klopp's replacement, he declined them. He was being reported as being West Ham's replacement for David Moyes. He rejected them because he didn't want to join during the season. And then he was going to be Pep Guardiola's successor, apparently, when he was going to leave. But what happened? He joined Manchester United. And, you know, you could say that's the reach and the environment and the structure of Manchester United. But, you know, he wanted to join us. And that's why I feel connected to this manager, because he speaks like he's one of us. He speaks like he's a fan when he's in his press conference. And like you said, he doesn't budge to the media. He doesn't buckle under pressure. And yeah, for me, he's just a brilliant manager. And I just can't wait to see how he keeps going as a Man United manager. But as well, obviously, if you're a United fan, and obviously, Brian, the same question to you, is that get in the comments down below on what has been your favourite Manchester United game so far under Ruben Amorim. Brian, I'll let you answer that.
Well, for me, there's a clash of two. I mean, I was in the ground when it was his first home game against Bodo Glimt with my cousin and his mate. And obviously, United went down 2-1 that game. Obviously, Rasmus scored an equaliser at half time. But you could see, like, where I was sat, obviously, I mean, I view football differently to any other fan. I look at it a lot on a tactical level. But I saw what the plan was from that game from the start, and sort of looked at it and was like, this man knows what he's doing. Like, sort of like, again, the way he sets up, the way he adapts. And like I say, the fight back that day made me think, because you've got to think as well, if United went and lost that game to Bodo Glimt, the rest of the European ties, there's no guarantee they would have gone through. And if he didn't qualify, obviously, let's say he is going to qualify with Rangers and a team in Bucharest. I can't remember the name of them, but say he wins them 2 games. Obviously, United are on the way to the last stages. So, like I say, the Bodo Glimt game for me shown not just a lot of character about the team, but him as a manager as well. Like I say, it just sort of seemed it as, you know, when you're down and out and the pressure's on, let's step it up. Like I say, everything just went to pan. And then obviously the Liverpool game, because I was in the same as you. I will be honest, I thought Liverpool were going to win by about 5-0 before that game. Like, I didn't see United even scoring a goal just off the back of the Wolves and Newcastle game. I was like, they're going to get throttled. But you could see the longer Amorim had with the players, the more the ideas were sort of coming together with the team, the more, again, they were like united together, they were playing well together. And like I say, for me, they should have won that game. Obviously, Liverpool had the chances as well. They played a good game as well. But again, for me, United shown a lot that game. And again, they went toe to toe with arguably the best team in Europe. It's just finding the consistency now. And I do believe when the consistency comes, you're going to see a much better and different Man United.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, I completely agree. And with the formation, obviously, he playing these 3-4-3, whatever it is. Now, there's a lot of speculation about how certain players fit into this formation. Obviously, you've got Alejandro Garnacho and how he fits in. He looks like he's on his way out the door. You've got Marcus Rashford as well. And you've got a few other players as well. But for me, one standout player and the player who's almost resurged himself at Manchester United is Harry Maguire. Now, Maguire has had a rough time at United. We can't lie about that. But the fact that he looks so comfortable and a world-class centre-back, I will say, in that position. I mean, he's Harry Maldini at the moment, not Harry Maguire, he's Harry Maldini. He is absolutely rock solid in that central centre-back position, and he looks like the £80 million defender. That's a bit of a statement, in my opinion, but I just think that he looks unbreakable. And when he went off yesterday against Arsenal, obviously there was been reports that he's been ill for the last few days and he really wanted to play and he wanted to play for the team. And that's what you want from your team. Now, whether he's playing for a contract or not is up for a question because obviously his contract is up at the end of the season. But I don't think Maguire strikes me as that type of player that's desperate to stay on a contract and will increase his performances just to after a new contract. I think every time Maguire's put in a shift, he always tries his best, and whether he's been bad or not, or whether he's been exposed, I feel like that the criticism he received was really, really harsh, and I'm just so happy to see the resurgence he's had in Manchester United. But I feel like that there is a question to be had that when Leny Yoro is fully back fit, will Maguire get dropped, or will De Ligt get dropped, or will Martinez get dropped? So there is a bit of a question there, in my opinion. But who do you say has improved the most under Amorim so far?
Well, I think obviously Maguire is a very honourable mention because, the criticism the guy has received, some of it justified, but a lot of it unjustified. But since the captaincy's come off a while ago, for me, he's not really had a lot of bad games where you can be like, that's on him. Like,
Yeah.
he has resurged himself. And in terms of contracts up at the end of the summer, I'm 99% sure Man United have extended it by a year. And sort of Ruben's even come out and said himself, like, he is a leader in the dressing room. But I think along the lines of him, his character as well. Like, at the end of the day, with all the pressure that he had and all the criticism and, everything on his back, to come back from that and put in the performances that he's been having, it shows a lot of him, not just as a player, as a person. But I think, the younger players, like obviously Ahmad, who's for me, it will be generational in that league, the more he plays under someone like Amorim, and say, for example, Mainu, Garnacho, and many others, youngsters that could have a future at United, they should be looking at him and thinking, do you know what? That goes to show that, you don't give up when your back's against the ropes. Like, keep fighting for your place and effectively play for the badge. Because, like I say, he might not have a 7 or 8 every game, but you can't ever say that he doesn't care. Like, he will give it everything that he's got. And like I say, the comeback that he's had, and again, I was one of them that said, is his time at the club up? For me, potentially. But the last few months, I've said he could arguably stay as a backup because it is going to be hard getting game time when you've got the likes of, Martinez, De Ligt, Lenny Yoro that's going to come through and everything like that. But at the end of the day, there's no reason these last few months why he hasn't earned his place. But like I say, credit to him.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, I couldn't put that better myself personally. But with Maguire, I love him, and I don't know if you've seen the video on Twitter today, but there was a part where when it was all kicking off yesterday, when he got booked for that challenge where, well, it wasn't even a penalty, by the way, in the Arsenal game where Havertz ran into him, Havertz ran off during the whole scuffle, and Maguire's there pointing at him saying, you fucking shithouse. Like, I love how mental he was going and how passionate he was showing. And that's like you said, you can't say that Maguire doesn't care. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have a 6, 7, or 8 out of 10 every single game. Sometimes he will drop a stinker, but so do all players. Bruno Fernandes at times can do it. Højlund and Xerxes have had quite a few of them moments this season. So for me, I'd feel like that. Yeah, you're right that Maguire is probably one of, if not one of the only players in the dressing room that you can say that you cannot say that despite how good or how bad he is, he puts 110% into every game he plays. But obviously, moving forward into the future of Ruben Amorim, obviously we are in the January transfer window, but United aren't looking to do too much business. I mean, our new signing, Diogo Leon, who's joining us in the summer, was pictured in Manchester today with the likes of Agate, Martinez, and he was pictured at Old Trafford today as well. So no doubt there'll be a bit of an announcement video coming soon from the club. But obviously, I don't think United are going to sign anyone major in January. I think we need to. I think we're desperate for a wing back or a somewhat centre forward if we can. But Brian, obviously, moving forward with Ruben Amorim, what do you think is the most key position United need to buy for progressing under Ruben Amorim?
The thing is, there's not really one standout for me. I think there is a lot of areas that United need better. Now, obviously, the signing you've just said, he's new, but he's young. So that's another one where there's potential there, but you can't rush him straight in. But I've said for a while now, I don't necessarily think Højlund and Xerxes are bad players, but I wouldn't be sat there thinking, rely on them young lads to be the number 9 for Man United. It's, think back to all the greats at the club that wore the number 9, they were primed, experienced players. And I think United are lacking that goal scorer. Like I say, it's not me saying Højlund and Xerxes can't become good, but for me, United need a 20-goal striker a season. It doesn't have to be necessarily like, when the rumours were there of, Ivan Toney for 80 million and everything like that. But, you need someone out there that's going to get you 20 goals a season. Because I've always been mixed about Bruno anyway. But on Bruno's day, he is one of the best in world football in his position. And like I will say, as people that know me personally know I'm always back and forth with him. And you're like, oh, he's been rubbish recently, but they will admit that I'll give him praise when it is. Again, on his day, he's one of the best in world football. But the chances that it creates and the hard coverage he runs and everything like that, for me, if you've got an experienced striker in front of him and he supplies you're going to be seeing more goals fly in and in and in. I think a centre mid is needed as well because obviously Mainu, brilliant. Agate has come in for me. I think he's been player of the season. I mean, I don't know about you, but Agate for me has been absolutely world class. And
Is that shithouse we've been missing? Like that bastard in midfield that you need.
100%. I mean, like I say, for example, Casemiro, he's had a great career, but the wheels have come off. He should not be at the.
Just touching that quickly, Brian. Obviously, you just mentioned Casemiro. Did you not think it was interesting yesterday how Toby Collier, a youth player for United, got brought on for Arsenal instead of the likes of Casemiro?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, but Ruben Amorim's not stupid. I think if any like I said, no one can come away from say looking at Casemiro and being like he's not had a great career. And when he did first come to United, he had a brilliant start. And I would sum up his United tenure. It's been all right, probably more on the side of good. But again, the wheels have come off. Like I say, and Agate has come in next to like Mainu and has just, like I say, he's just been brilliant. And I knew a lot of people that was like, oh, but PSG are looking at wanting to get rid of him for a reason and everything like that. But as an individual player, you could see the class that was there.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I've always been intrigued. I know a few people might laugh, or a few people have, sort of questioned me on this a bit recently, but I've been intrigued on playing Manu a bit higher at times and bringing in like a CDM next to Agate.
Yeah.
But like I say, for me, the first signing I would look at is probably a striker because, like I said, I just think it's needed. A centre mid is a maybe, but not vital. And then obviously the keeper's always a controversial one, but at the end of the day, it's just hard to pinpoint one position that United need because, like I say, if I had to say, it'd probably be a keeper, a left back, a centre mid, and a striker.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree, mate. And I think it was, I'm trying to find the video now, 1 second. I think it was the Liverpool game. I turned around and I predicted 11 as a YouTube short. And I turned around and said that I would put Mainu as that attacking mid next to Amad Diallo and put Bruno Fernandes in that centre mid next to Agate position type for now. Because I feel like that Bruno, as that deep playmaker, can really suit that role. He's got the energy to run around. He knows how to tackle. I feel like he can do really well in that system. But I completely agree with you. A central midfielder in that position next to Agate, he doesn't have to be as aggressive and as challenging as someone like Agate, but I think United need that physical presence in that midfield as well. Like, you know that when teams are facing you, you're like, oh shit, you've got them two in midfield. Like, they're two really good players. And for me, my dream signing in that position, because I've thought about it a few times this season, is Joe Linton from Newcastle. Now, I don't like like for me, Joe Linton, he's a player that you hate when you're going up against him, but you'd love him if he's on your team. A bit like Bruno Fernandes, where Bruno's a bit petulant like Simone and stuff, but is world class on his day. A lot of rival fans hate Bruno Fernandes because they know how good he is, and they know that he'll do everything what it takes to wind up fans and to do everything he can for the shirt. And I feel like Joe Linton's the exact same. And for me, him next to Agate, that would be a monster midfield two, in my opinion. But do you have anyone that you think that would be a perfect signing for United in that midfield position?
I wouldn't necessarily say perfect because, for me, the midfield is arguably the players you need the best of. For me in football, the way I view it anyway, games are won and lost in midfield.
Yeah.
And if you've got a bad midfield, you ain't going to do well. But, in terms of Joel Linton, and even on going into Newcastle, if we want a little bit, like, I generally thought, after watching him take apart Arsenal at the Emirates, I think Newcastle have got the best midfield in the league. I really
Yeah.
do. Like, that. In terms of, like, you've got like a deep line playmaker, a box to box, you've got an attacking one, like, or a deep, like I say, just they're perfect everywhere in midfield.
Yeah.
Of course, they lack in a few other positions, but midfield, like I say, they're perfect everywhere. But yeah, in terms of a perfect signing for a midfield, it's very, very, very difficult. I mean, I really wanted to see someone like Zubimenda at Real Sociedad come in. I know Liverpool were looking at it, but they didn't get it over the line. But that was a player that not necessarily as the biggest in names, but if you follow football well enough, you know that's a player. But like I say, I wanted to see United going for someone like that, but it's evident that he wants to stay in Spain at the moment. But like I say, for me, again, the midfield is such a hard position to play. So at the minute, I don't have a standout where it's like, go and get him. But
Yeah.
again, I think Kobe Mainoo's brilliant. But as a CDM, for example, he's only young anyway. He's younger than us both, for God's sake. But like, he isn't necessarily the biggest neither. No, that's not me
Yeah.
saying that he's not a great player, because he is. But as a CDM, he's not the biggest of players.
Yeah,
And
it's a weird one with Manu because he's a very versatile midfielder, but it's like
yeah,
what is it a bit like? It might sound daft, but it's a bit like Paul Pogba. Like, where do you play him in midfield? Like, do you play him
mm,
deep? Do you play him as that box to box, or do you play him further up the pitch? And yeah, I completely agree. Alke says the left wing back is the most important position. Now, I agree because United really lack a left footed player. I mean, obviously, Luke Shaw making TikToks with Molly May and saying your mum's on benefits and stuff. And
oh,
obviously,
the
Malacia is just Molasses had such a long time out of football.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't trust his body, and we are definitely weak on that left wing spot. And obviously, Dalot recently been sent off as well, so no doubt we'll probably see Molasses start actually against Southampton. But I guess you can do that because Southampton aren't that much of a threat. And Alex says, Brian, you sound like AK, whatever that means.
That means sound like my cousin. That's what it means.
Right, okay. But no, with LK though, I do believe that wing back is probably a very important position. I mean, we have got this Diego Leon coming in the club in the new season, so I look forward to seeing more of him. But for me, like my dream signing at that left wing back spot is probably it's a big name. It is Alphonso Davies because he knows how to defend because Bayern Munich made him a fullback. But the reason why they signed him was that he was a blistering, pacey winger. So he has that attacking output. And the amount of assists he would get, I mean, for me, it is two players from Germany. It is either Alphonso Davies or it is Grimaldo. Grimaldo, I've loved since at Benfica. He is fucking mint. I absolutely love Grimaldo. But for me, if you're asking for an attacking type player with pace and that player's going to get up and down all game, and obviously then you've got Alphonso Davies and he's your man. But if you want creativity, if you want relentless energy, then Grimaldo's your man. But for me, them two would be absolutely mint for United. But Brian, I think that's us all done, to be honest. I really appreciate you coming on. We've hit the half an hour mark now. I appreciate everyone as well in the comments. Okay, Alex, Kieran as well. I really shit. But no, I really appreciate everyone who's come on tonight and been interactive with the comments. But Brian, you've been absolute natural. Hopefully, I can get you on again some other time. Like I said, you're a natural. If you have anyone, do you want to shout out anyone or any of your socials?
No, I just, I'll follow what you said, again, nice when everyone come down. Just before to go, maybe a thought for yourself. Like, you were saying about Alphonso Davies and, Grimaldo, brilliant players in the German league. But I was looking at, for example, a left back who's Prem proven in his own right. He plays for Wolves, but I think he's very crucial for their team. I think you pronounce it as Ryan Ait-Nouri, however you say it. I think he's a brilliant player, and
he's good.
He's 23, 24. He's Prem proven, and realistically, I think Wolves will probably look at about 30 million for him. So even if you couldn't get hold of the likes of Alfonso or Grimaldo, a player like that again, they're Prem proven, they're a good individual player, and like I say, I think that'd be a good sort of signing for that left side. But like I say, in terms of the opportunity, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll be on for future ones if possible.
Yeah, mate, we'll definitely get you on again. But anyway, thank you to everyone in the comments. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you haven't already, and subscribe if you are new as well. See a lot of new faces in the comments tonight. But anyway, I appreciate you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.